Hello, everyone. I'm gonna dive straight into this. Responding to the first question, what does Alan G. Johnson mean when he talks about the social constraint construction of differences? My understanding of that is that today and throughout history, the dominant culture constantly oppresses subcultures due to these small differences that they usually can't control, such as race, class, or gender, using these to oppress and look down at other cultures, using what is considered normal, right? And that wouldn't be the same had it been in any other culture. But in American culture, we put great value into skin color and how much a person makes yearly. Um, and this reminds me of a TED Talk that I watched a while back, where women talked about how our thumbs are special and unique in their own ways, and if we were to classify and rank each other based on our thumbs, that would look really stupid, basically, right? But we do the same thing with skin color, so that doesn't make sense to me. Anyways, answering the next question. Um, are oppressors ever oppressed? I feel like everyone is oppressed in some sense. Even if you are an oppressor yourself, um, you're still you still have someone above you, right? And we're always gonna have someone above us who oppresses us or makes us feel some type of way. Um, and I feel like it's always going to be like that. It's what keeps the the circle spinning. Always constantly having someone who oppresses and someone who gets oppressed. It has become such a huge part of our culture, that we see these differences and we point them out. Um, Obviously, lately we've been taught to embrace these differences and to respect them of each other, but still, deep down inside, a lot of us treat other people differently. When we see someone in a wheelchair, that's all we see of them. This is a person who's a wheelchair. He's a disabled person, and we always get those feelings of sympathy towards them because we know that they are disabled instead of seeing them as a human being. One of the lines that really hit me when I was reading this was that race and all its categories have no significance outside systems of privilege and oppression, in which they were created in the first place. Which means that all these different classifications and rankings and groups that we have, they're only there to give power to privileged groups. Now, answering the last question, are oppressors and people who are oppressed in the same cage? I wouldn't say so. People who are oppressors are definitely in a much better cage than people who are being oppressed. Um, Obviously, they're both playing their social parts that they have either been given or have um, jumped into because of privilege. Um, but if I were to think of a solution to the problem, breaking this cycle of oppression in the world, I would say that if we were to, as I was saying earlier, embrace our differences and stop pointing out these differences within us and turned a blind eye to it, I feel like things would be different then. And Alan G. Johnson sort of goes into that when he talks about, it's actually the first paragraph of the article, um, when he says there is no white before he or she came to America, and there's no such thing as whiteness, or for that matter, blackness, or more generally, race. We put emphasis on race, and we put value into color when these aren't what should separate us. Thank you all for listening, and see you guys in class.